Oh, sorry, as a product manager, busy coding. Or was I? So, if you're wondering how technical you need to be as a product manager, this video is for you. Before we get started, my name is Sully. I've been a senior product manager for companies within San Francisco, mostly within the AI space, and also as a technical product manager. So I have a little bit of understanding of what I'm going to speak about here. So technical is a big buzzword these days, but don't worry, we're going to debunk some myths and spill some secrets as to how technical you really need to be. So, section 1, let's define the problem as a product manager would be, so we're all clear on what we're trying to solve for here. So, there's this huge debate, should PMs be technical? Should they know every detail of code, of architecture, of the database? Or is it just enough to understand the customer needs, business strategy, and leave the coding to the big boys, the engineers? And the truth is, it's not black or white. Bear with me, we'll go deeper. Now, one thing you need to understand is this is a very big misconception that product managers do not need how to code. Unless your role is very, very technical. Like I did code personally as a technical product manager, but ever since I was a regular product manager and a senior product manager, even within the AI space, managing a portfolio of AI products, I never wrote a line of code. Only in my very early years as a technical product manager, I wrote a few scripts, and even those I had a lot of help with engineers. So let me clarify this through a lot of people's heads. Most product managers do not need to know how to code. However, you should have an understanding of basic engineering jargon. For example, you need to know what an API is. You need to know what databases are. This will help you collaborate a lot better and more effectively with engineering teams. But not critical. I've worked with great engineering managers as well, where I've kind of stepped out of the day-to-day of engineering, and they've taken over some of that scope of work. I've also been very hands-on with engineering teams where I'm involved with architecture reviews, design reviews, and sort of going back and forth there. So it works both ways here. Secondly, of course, just because you have technical skills does not mean you're going to be a great product manager. In fact, I'd say some of the greatest product managers I've worked with probably did not come from a technical background, but they could just think really well from a user's perspective and drive outcomes. Because tech alone will not cut it. You need to have 3 core pillars as a product manager: communication, strategy, and above all, empathy and understanding for your user. Ending this section, if you had to just pick one thing and one thing only, I would pick communication. This is going to be your best friend. If you can over communicate every single thing you're doing to all the stakeholders you're working with, you're always going to be one step ahead of any sort of misconception. So, having gotten that out of the way, let's say you do want to be technical, what's the best way to break it down? So for a beginner level, I would say get familiar with concepts such as APIs. What is tech architecture? Why is it important to design these things? What is cloud computing? How does it work? What did people do before? Also sort of understand what is user data security, and sort of concepts around this region. There's a lot of free content online. Feel free to drop in the comments. I'm happy to refer folks. But this would be the place where I would start. Now, for an intermediate level, this is where it needs to be a little bit more day-to-day. You need to be able to get into the technical trade-off discussions with engineers, especially when it comes to engineering effort and prioritizing decisions. You need to be able to help manage technical debt, at least a part of it, because that will eventually also affect product outcomes that you're aiming for, or deliverables, and have a basic understanding of architecture and how things talk to each other. And the advanced level, I would say, is probably split into 2 parts, where you can, one, write SQL, so you can understand basic analytics and access databases, or if your company might use Amplitude or Mixpanel, you can get around this, but this should at least be something you can do. And then also write scripts. This again is very role dependent. Not every role needs this, but if you're in a very technical role, you might have to touch scripts here and there. And so this would be helpful as well. Keep in mind, there's a lot of AI tools out there these days that can help you with both these parts. So make sure to explore these, and I can recommend options as well as needed. One of my favorite product managers that I worked with never wrote a line of code, and she drove a lot of outcomes for the company because she was just very good at communicating. And sometimes, the coding part, even that you do need to do, you can get pre-written code, pre-written scripts from engineers and just run them as is, maybe changing a few variables, example, dates, for pulling data from different time slots, and or fields, changing a column. Instead of pulling in data type A from a database, you might need data type B. So that's just literally just changing a variable and running the same script or same code. So one of the smartest product managers I work with never wrote code. She would operate in this method, and above all, like I said, the three pillars that she would have would be user empathy, communication, and strategy, and where the product line needs to go. So if you really want to get technical, I would say take a course on APIs or databases, or to be honest, with a lot of AI tools these days, ChatGPT, Claude, you can use that to your advantage and sort of just go back and forth, ask it questions. What is an API? What is a database? Why is this important for a business? What happens if a business doesn't have these things, right? That really helps you understand, okay, there's actual value to a business having a database, right? You're not going to ask a street vendor selling hot dogs to go make a database of his clients, right? Because there's no value to it. So if a business does have this, clearly they're getting something out of it. What is that reason? And if you're in meetings, as a product manager, ask a few technical questions. A lot of engineers that I've worked with are happy to explain concepts as long as it doesn't affect their day-to-day productivity. They'll take the time out to help you understand. But again, the bottom line is you do not need to be a coder to be a product manager. This is something, if there's one key takeaway, I want you to put this through your head. You don't need to be a coder to be a product manager, but being comfortable technically makes you more effective. So I hope this video was at least a little bit helpful. Would love to know how technical you folks are in the comments or where you're looking to grow next, and see you folks in the next video. Ciao.